You know, I feel like I'm having a deja vu moment with Pokemon. So let's just get into it, shall we? The topic of today, Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, that's right, Mortal Kombat. What in the world has happened to Mortal Kombat? You know, honestly, I have no idea. But these reviews, my gosh, talk about some deja vu moments right there. Wow. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there was a Pokemon review, I think it was IGN, a while back of a remake of a previous version, and their biggest con was too much water. After choosing a water-type Pokemon as their starter, and, well, because of that, every battle had a water Pokemon in it, therefore too much water. Uh, anyway, the point is, it was in a water-type region, and there was a lot more water Pokemon available for that particular thing, and blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. But we're talking, Mortal Kombat. What in the world could be so wrong with Mortal Kombat? You know what? There's a few things that could go wrong with Mortal Kombat that they've done from various things, from changing certain things because apparently certain hand gestures are suddenly now somehow some kind of white supremacist thing, which isn't true in the least, but whatever, they're idiots. Point is, this review from Games Radar, cons. Look at this. Needlessly violent fatal blows ruins the flow of fights. New characters are boring and flat. I couldn't tell you anything about the new characters being boring or flat. This is a Mortal Kombat game. It is a fighting game, for starters. And if somebody was to ask me what was Mortal Kombat, because they didn't know, well, it's a fighting game. And fatalities. Lots of blood, lots of gore. Those would probably be the pros that I throw in there if I was to advertise this to somebody who has never played a Mortal Kombat game. But in this review, it is a con. So let's just sort of look into that, because it makes me wonder if they even realize what kind of game they're playing at this point. Mortal Kombat sort of has a special place in my heart. It was probably the second fighting game I have ever played in my life. First one being Super Street Fighter 2. But, young me seeing fatalities and such, I was just like, oh, that is cool, that is awesome, that is amazing. And that is just sort of like a staple to the Mortal Kombat. If Mortal Kombat just got rid of them, I don't know if there's going to be anything to really differentiate it from anything else at that point, like Dead or Alive or, any of the other fighting games out there, because it's one of the things that it has. It's its fatality system, it's its blood, it's its gore, But, that's just me, I guess. So, let's go down here to that part. A failure at fatal blows. Their approachability only makes the severity of fatal blows more consequential. Each and every fight lets both players use their fatal blow moves as their health bar drops close to zero. I'm gonna have to take their war over this because I don't know what a fatal blow is, apparently. Alongside some other slow motion gruesome moves, which is sort of becoming creepingly a staple now, it seems, in fighting games. The sort of pull off a certain move, certain little cinematic or slow motion thing, pops up and happens. Just one of those things that sort of is now more or less a staple into the fighting genre than it was beforehand. But these moves take control away from players and feature incredibly gory, over-the-top acts of violence, like Aaron Black ricocheting 2 bullets off coins through his opponent's eyeballs, or Katina, I can't say her name, slicing through her enemy's spine with her fans. which I'm pretty sure is like OG fatality right there, but that's just me. They continue. We've long passed the days where blood and gore made Mortal Kombat the hallmark fighter it is today. No, we're not. It is the thing that continues to keep Mortal Kombat relevant, if you ask me. But that's just me. These fatal blows seem like a relic of the past and have the opposite effect of something like Dragon Ball Fighters cinematics. No, it doesn't. I'm all for Boon and NetherRealm sticking to their roots, but at least give me the option to turn fatal blows off or offer a toned-down version. If you want that, I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat was released for the Super Nintendo at some point with a toned-down version of Mortal Kombat. Just for you. So go dig up that relic and play that, because that might be more your speed than, say, maybe the modern day version. Even more, these fatal blows had a deep effect in Mortal Kombat's narrative. They ruined big story moments that otherwise would have been quite impactful. I'd provide an example, but they all include heavy spoilers. Despite the ridiculousness of the overall plot, there are moments where the violence moves the story forward. But those moments are tarnished by the fact that these fatal blows are far, far more violent in every way. Why? How? I mean, it would be nice if you provided one example. It doesn't really take much, but, 30 seconds. Just put a spoiler warning in front of it. Anyway, I wouldn't know, because I hadn't played it. Yeah, but fatal blows, fatalities, that sort of thing, blood and gore, that is part of Mortal Kombat. I'm sorry. I know you don't like it. For whatever reason, you're brain dead on this and you think you're playing Street Fighter or Dead or Alive or whatever it is. You might want to go stick to those games instead of playing the Mortal Kombat game if a little bit of blood and gore, or a lot of blood and gore, is not up your alley. You should probably pass up doing a review on that particular type of game and stick to the more wholesome fighting games like Soul Calibur. That's wholesome, right? Totally wholesome. Yeah, totally wholesome. Anyway, probably should stick to something else instead of Mortal Kombat, just saying. But one of your biggest cons is boring and flat characters for a fighting game that, technically, I'm not really playing a fighting game for the story. Just gonna go out on a limb there. People typically don't play fighting games for the story because, mainly, they used to not have stories. These are more like extra bits now. Although there was a few of the Mortal Kombat games that had a decent little story to it, like, I can't remember what it was called, but I think it was back on the PS2 or something. Anyway, and that was kind of fun. But overall, I'm not really playing a fighting game for a story. I just want to get through all the story bits, if I have to go through it, to unlock all the characters that I need to actually play the game with friends and other people and kick each other's asses. That is what I'm trying to do with a fighting game. Just unlock everybody, so this way I can play it. But down here, something about new fighters, however, like Geras, a servant of Kronaka. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm horrible with all these names. I don't know any of these people. I haven't played Mortal Kombat in a while. But who can control time, an Elder Goddess, and the Collector, a servant of Shao Kahn. See, that one I know. We're all flat and boring. They had a lot to live up to when sharing the screen with the likes of Raiden and Liu Kang, and they fell short. None of their motives or motivations, moves, moments in the game felt memorable. Nothing leads me to want to care about them, let alone play them. It could have something to do with the fact that you're playing a fighting game and the story isn't a high priority. Okay, let me slow that down. Story not high on the priority list for a fighting game. I'm sorry, if I'm going to review a fighting game, chances are one of the things I'm not going to dock it for is lackluster story, as pretty much the fact that that's extra content that has been tacked on that doesn't have to be there. It's a freaking fighting game, for crying out loud. It doesn't need it. Now, so let's take a look real quick. They're pros. Tight, responsive gameplay that rarely gets old. Boom, that's a pro. A fun, melodramatic story from start to finish. Okay, so the story is a pro, but at the same time, it's a con further down there, as several of the characters who are introduced are flat, boring, and not memorable. Got it. Anyway, plenty of meaningful content. I'm not really sure what that means, but okay. Through tutorial to help newcomers. That's good. A thorough tutorial is definitely a good thing. I mean, games don't have to have them. They used to not have tutorials, so having a tutorial is a good thing. Meanwhile, their cons is needlessly violent fatal blows ruin the flow of fights. And I'm assuming they're referring to like anything else in games like Marvel vs. Capcom, Street Fighter, Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball Fighters, things like that, Tekken 7. You know, they all have like specialized moves the characters can unleash when, say, a bar is at a certain level and all that other good stuff. And it sort of breaks up, you know, the button mashing portion of the fight into a quick little cinematic type thing. I wouldn't really call that ruining the flow of the fight unless it somehow interrupted your combo and somebody pulled one off on you. And you're a bit salty about that. I mean, it's possible. It's a thing. New characters are boring or flat, but they're also part of the story. And, you know, look, if you're going to tack onto a story onto a fighting game, I don't know how many times I can repeat that. This is a fighting game. A game about fighting. I don't know how many times I can really repeat that. Story is not a priority. I don't expect the story to really be very good at all, to be totally honest, in a fighting game. If it is, it's a huge plus to me, but I'm not expecting it to go anywhere. Seriously. I don't play fighting games for the story. You know what I do play for the story, though? RPGs. RPGs are story-driven game. That's what you play for story. Not exactly a fighting game, but anyway. Point is, I found that really, really weird, hilarious. Mainly the needlessly violent fatal blows part. I mean, and the complaining about it down here was they want it tamer, is what it is. Fatal blows seem like a relic. They need to be turned off or offer a toned down version. It's like, look, the only thing I can tell you on that one is go get a Super Nintendo. Go get Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo, because that was a thing that happened. And do not, under any circumstances, put in the cheat code to enable blood. Alright? And gore. Do not do that. Because then you're going to complain about, oh my god, they put a cheat code into the game that allows me to turn the gun on and I wanted this toned down version. And we don't really need to see an article of you complaining about that either. But then again, if we ever did, we could laugh at that. So what was the final score? What was their final review? Mortal Kombat 11 is a 4 out of 5. Story mode, along with its gameplay, is the most intense and gripping narrative in a fighter that I've ever played in years. Okay, I mean, that seems decent. I mean, I would honestly have to play this game to review it myself to see if I would actually give it a 4 out of 5. But, you know, if your 4 out of 5 is coming from pretty much fatal blows or too bloody and gory, and you don't like the characters in the story, I mean, I guess that's just nitpicking at that point. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you find this hilariously funny? Or do you think this guy is right? Or girl? I'm not really sure who did this. Aaron? Yeah, I'm not going to assume it's gender, because we know how badly that goes. It could be anything. So, do you agree with it? Or do you find it very funny? Because, you know, Mortal Kombat should move past the blood and gore, even though that's like its main staple. You think Mortal Kombat, you think blood, violence, and somebody being bitten in half by a giant dragon. I miss that fatality. Is that even in the game still? I honestly don't know. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below what you think, and I will talk to you later. See ya!
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.